Our third contestant for the International Speech Contest tonight is Darnell Badger. The title of his speech is "Things Are Not Always What They Seem." Please welcome Darnell Badger as he presents "Things Are Not Always What They Seem."
Things are not always what they seem. Contest masters, toastmasters, honored guests, and anyone that has ever been misled. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever gone through a situation with the expectation that you would receive one thing and in turn receive something entirely different? Well, come with me on a journey. Well, you will see that things are not always what they seem. When my son was 2, we visited my hometown of New Bern, North Carolina, to show him off to the rest of the family. While there, I got this nostalgic feeling to take him to my childhood barbershop. As I drove up to the shop, I could see the faded barber's pole that still spun ever so slowly. When I walked in, I felt as though I was in a time warp because nothing had changed, or so it seemed. The aluminum blinds in the front window were still the same, except they were age-gray from decades of working in the sun. And I could smell that old familiar smell of talc powder and sandalwood shaving cream. As I stood there, I could hear an old familiar voice calling me. "Don, is that you, boy?" Don was the nickname that Mr. Swindell gave me. As I looked towards the back of the shop, there stood Mr. Swindell, my old barber, standing in that same spot behind his chair. There stood the man that had an immense impact on my life. As he walked towards me, I could see that he had now aged, but he still had a smile the size of Texas. "Mr. Swindell, allow me to introduce you to my son, Darnell Jr." My son sat down in the chair, the same chair that I used to sit in when I was a child. And while he and Mr. Swindell chatted, I looked up at the price list and it stated, "Boys haircuts, $3. $3? Even a McDonald's Happy Meal cost more than $3. Mr. Swindell, is that price list correct? Everything that looks good and feels good ain't always good for you. That's Mr. Lee, the previous owner's price list. That price list was here when I started 44 years ago." I thought to myself, well, where's the new price list? And why does he have it up? As he continued to talk, my mind moonwalked like Michael Jackson back to my college days. My roommate Stan had a 4.0 GPA, and even though his nickname was Stan the Man, he rarely left the room. We had a major literature exam in 2 days, and I had one very important frat party in 1. The plan was to buy some Cliff Notes, get insight from Stan. That way I could go to the party, hang out with the ladies, get a couple drinks, and still be ready for the test. Well, a couple days after the test, I got the results back, and it was as you can imagine. I failed the test. As I ran up the stairway to the dormitory, all I could think about was how my mother was going to kill me, and that psycho thing flashed in my head. When I walked in the room, the first thing my roommate said was, "How'd you do?" I failed. "Darnell, now you know you can't get something for nothing. There are no easy ways and shortcuts in life. You get out of life exactly what you put in." At first I thought I was experiencing deja vu, but I realized that he was just reaffirming the message of my childhood mentor, Mr. Swindell. Bzzz, the buzzer sound of clippers made me jump, and I could hear Mr. Swindell say, "When I started in this business 44 years ago, it was so hard to find customers that my friends and family members suggested I find me a real job. I even doubted myself. But this was my dream, so I kept going and I made it through the tough times. Had I not persevered, I wouldn't have been around to experience the good times. But more importantly, I wouldn't be the man that I am today. You know, son, a slow nickel will outlast a fast dime any day. The journey is just as important as the destination. Appreciate the journey. Do you hear me, son? Appreciate the journey. Mr. Swindell brushed the hair off my son's neck, removed the barber's cape, and he said, "That'll be $3. I thought you said that was Mr. Lee's price. Well, I didn't say it wasn't my price list, too. Sometimes good fortune does come your way. In this case, in the form of a $3 haircut. Things are not always what they seem. A few short months later, I got a call from my mother. Bling! Baby, I just want to call and let you know that Mr. Swindell passed last night. I went home for the funeral, and after the funeral, I went to the barbershop for the last time. I looked into the window, and for just a moment, I could have sworn I saw Mr. Swindell standing there with a smile the size of Texas, waving goodbye. The funny thing about my visit to the barbershop is that I went to get my son a haircut, but I left with a lesson for life. So the next time you're confronted with something that doesn't quite look right or feel right, it could be a $3 boy's haircut, Cliff Notes to read a book, or a vision of someone who is now passed. Please remember that things are not always what they are.